Ever wonder why that artisan bakery charges $6 for a cookie? Spoiler alert, it's not because they're washing their hands between batches. Welcome to the sparkling world of open concept bakeries, where you can watch your treats being made through pristine glass windows, while absolutely none of the chaos happening in the back room makes it into your Instagram feed. Picture yourself walking into one of those trendy cookie shops tomorrow morning. You see smiling workers in matching aprons, perfectly arranged displays, and that calculated rustic charm aesthetic that screams we care about quality. But here's what you're not seeing: the cookie dough that hit the floor 5 minutes ago and got scooped right back into the bowl when nobody was looking. Now imagine you're the manager of this bakery, and you've got a tray of croissants that are supposed to expire today. Do you toss $40 worth of perfectly edible pastries into the trash? Or do you strategically rotate them to the front of the display case tomorrow morning? If you chose option 2, congratulations, you think exactly like every bakery I've ever worked in. The dirty secret of the food service industry is that visibility doesn't equal cleanability. Those open kitchens and glass bakery cases aren't there so you can inspect our sanitation practices. They're there so you feel like you can. It's theater, and you're buying tickets to a show where the most important scenes happen backstage. Here's how the game actually works. Someone drops a whisk on the floor, and the official policy says it needs to be sanitized before use again. But sanitizing takes time, and time is money. And there's a line of customers wrapping around the block waiting for their overpriced morning buns. So that whisk gets a quick rinse under lukewarm water, maybe a wipe with a questionably clean towel, and boom, back in action. You'd think that popular bakeries with lines out the door would have higher standards. Actually, it's the opposite. The busier the shop, the more corners get cut because nobody has time to do things properly. When you're churning out hundreds of cookies per hour, the 5-second rule becomes more of a guideline than a deal breaker. Let's talk about the fresh baked daily promise that's plastered across every bakery window. What that actually means is baked sometime in the last 72 hours and strategically displayed to look fresh today. Those muffins from Monday morning, they're getting a light mist of water and a quick pass through the oven on Wednesday to make them seem like they just came out. The chocolate chip cookies you watched being made this morning? Sure, that batch is fresh. But the dough was mixed yesterday, stored in a container that hasn't been properly cleaned in a week and handled by at least 3 different people who may or may not have washed their hands after their smoke break. Still want that extra large cookie? Temperature control is another fascinating area where reality diverges from regulation. Food safety guidelines say certain items need to stay below specific temperatures to prevent bacterial growth. But when your walk-in cooler is packed to capacity and the door gets opened 30 times an hour, those temperatures are more aspirational than actual. Here's the kicker. That beautiful artisan bread you're paying premium prices for, the one that's supposed to have only 4 ingredients and be made with love and traditional methods, it probably sat on a speed rack in a hallway for 2 hours because there was no room in the cooler, and nobody's gonna throw away product that still looks fine. The inspection system is basically a joke if you know how to play it. Health inspectors announce their visits, or at least everyone in the industry knows roughly when they're coming. So for that one magical day every few months, everything gets cleaned properly, temperatures get checked, and suddenly everyone remembers all those food safety protocols they've been ignoring. Then the inspector leaves, and it's back to business as usual. Want to know the real reason bakeries have those cute chalkboard signs with handwritten daily specials? It's not charm, it's inventory management. Today's special, blueberry scones. Really means we made way too many blueberry scones yesterday and need to move them before they're completely unsellable. The irony is that customers actually prefer this system without realizing it. If bakeries followed every food safety rule to the letter, prices would double, selection would shrink, and half the items would be sold out by noon. You think you want compliance, but what you actually want is cheap, abundant baked goods available whenever you have a craving. Cross-contamination is another area where theory meets reality and reality wins every time. That gluten-free section is being prepared on the same surfaces, with the same equipment, and often by the same hands that just finished kneading regular bread dough. There's a quick wipe down in between, sure, but we're not exactly running a laboratory here. The staff turnover in bakeries is astronomical, which means training is minimal and institutional knowledge about food safety is basically non-existent. New employees get a quick overview of how to frost a cupcake and where the time clock is, and then they're thrown into the chaos. Nobody's checking if they understand proper food handling because there isn't time. Here's a fun game. Next time you're in a bakery, watch how often the workers touch their faces, their phones, or their aprons before touching food. The answer is constantly. And sure, theoretically, they should be washing their hands every single time, but have you seen how busy these places get? There's a reason hand sanitizer bottles are everywhere. It's the compromise between actual hygiene and operational reality. The worst part is that most of this isn't malicious. Nobody's actively trying to poison customers or violate health codes out of spite. It's just that the economics of running a small bakery in a competitive market mean that perfection isn't profitable. Every croissant thrown away for being slightly stale is money literally in the trash. Suppliers know this game too. That premium European butter the bakery advertises, sometimes it is, and sometimes it's whatever butter was on sale that week repackaged into containers from the premium stuff. Customers can't tell the difference in the final product anyway, and the savings add up. The beautiful part is how well the system perpetuates itself. Customers want to believe in the artisan bakery dream, the passionate bakers, the quality ingredients, the meticulous care. And bakeries are happy to sell them that dream for $6 a cookie, even if the reality involves a lot more floor contact and a lot less hand washing than anyone wants to admit. Those seasonal flavors that everyone gets excited about, they're usually just last season's unsold inventory with different food coloring and a new name. Pumpkin spice cookies become gingerbread cookies, become peppermint cookies with minimal actual recipe changes. It's the same dough, different marketing. The employees know all of this, obviously, but nobody says anything because jobs are jobs, and the bakery industry isn't exactly known for its career stability or competitive wages. You show up, you make the cookies, you don't ask too many questions about why the mixer hasn't been deep cleaned since the Bush administration. Even the fancy equipment you see through those big windows is mostly for show. The real work happens in the back, with decades-old mixers held together with duct tape and hope. That gleaming KitchenAid stand mixer in the front, it's there because it photographs well, not because it's making your artisan sourdough. Customers sometimes ask workers about the ingredients or the process, and we've all learned to give the answers people want to hear. Oh, yes, everything is made fresh this morning. Sounds so much better than I honestly have no idea when that batch was made because I just got here and everything's chaos. Both are true depending on your definition of fresh and morning. The reality is that restaurants and bakeries exist in this weird space between what regulations say should happen and what actually happens when you're trying to run a profitable business. The gap between those two realities is where all the interesting compromises get made and where your expensive artisan cookies get their special flavor. But hey, you've been eating this stuff for years and you're probably fine. The human immune system is remarkably resilient, and most food safety violations aren't actually dangerous, they're just gross when you think about them too hard. So maybe the real lesson here is that ignorance truly is bliss, especially when it comes with chocolate chips. The industry keeps humming along, customers keep lining up for their overpriced pastries, and bakeries keep finding creative ways to maximize profit while minimizing waste. It's a beautiful system, really, as long as nobody looks too closely at what fresh baked actually means. And tomorrow there'll be a new batch of cookies in that display case, made with the same questionable practices and the same theatrical cleanliness you've come to expect from your favorite bakery.